Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about 5 mistakes that I see people make when using Myfitnesspal in order to track your macros, track your calories, or track your food in general. And the number one tip that I see, or the number one mistake that I see, is that you're not using foods that are verified. And verified foods have the little green check on them. And these have been verified by Myfitnesspal, and those have the accurate macronutrients and the accurate calories. So making sure to use these as much as possible, and you're not able to use these all the time. There's a lot of foods out there that have not been verified, but just making sure that the foods that you're looking at are accurate. What I see often is people are manually entering in foods, they're only entering in the calories, and they're not entering any of the macronutrients, and even the calories that they're entering may not be accurate. So you can't always trust that like Jimmy John Joe from South Dakota actually entered this incorrectly. So you make sure you're double checking your foods in order that they have macronutrient breakdown, and even cross-reference this. If you're really confused, do a Google search on how many calories in, say, sweet potato, and try to find an accurate website in order for you to make sure you're hitting the right macronutrients and the right calories, because oftentimes this can throw your calories off by 200, 300, 400 calories because of this inaccuracies. And if you're tracking macros, you have to be more specific because you're focusing primarily on the macronutrient breakdown, and if someone's not entering that in, you may be overeating or undereating depending on your goals. The third thing I see as far as mistakes is serving sizes. When you are adding in things that are like a large cookie and they end up being 2 servings on the package, but you end up putting it in as 1 and not understanding that the serving size actually matters, or something like a serving size of a candy bar. They always have those like the sharing size bags of M&Ms I see out there. And if you're only putting a third of that bag in and you ate the entire bag, then you're again going to be inaccurate when you're tracking. You're not going to get to your goals because you're going to be completely off in your calorie goals and your macronutrient goals. The fourth thing that I see is not adding in condiments, not adding in things like even gum, even things like salad dressings, the oils, any of that stuff, especially when you go out to eat. So most of the times when you go out to eat, they are going to be adding oils to your food. So making sure that you account for this. I always say err on the side of caution and make a little bit over than you expect, or maybe a little bit over than you think. So adding in like a tablespoon of oil when you go out and get some vegetables that are sauteed or something along those lines, or making sure that you're always including ketchup when you're using it, and mustard. And they seem like nitty-gritty stuff, but they add up over time. So this also includes the bites, licks, and tastes. So if you have kids, you know that it's easy to grab like a piece of goldfish or have like a little bit of something left on their plate. All of these things add up, and a lot of times people aren't seeing their goals. They're saying, well, I'm not losing weight on this, I'm not gaining weight on this, I'm gaining weight on this and I'm trying to be at maintenance, or I'm losing weight on this, I'm trying to be at maintenance. And this is because the inaccuracies in our tracking. Fifth mistake I see is people not planning ahead of time. So I always suggest, especially in the beginning, to start planning your meals ahead of time, or at least plan some fun foods in for the next day or that day, in order for you to feel satisfied, in order for you to hit your goals correctly, and make sure you're hitting your macronutrient goals or your calorie goals or whatever that may be for you. Because a lot of times you run through the day, you're so busy, you're eating and you're not thinking, and then all of a sudden you're left with like 100 grams of protein, and you're like, what am I going to be eating? Egg whites, for the rest of the day. And this is why I suggest making sure you're planning a little bit ahead of time, and understanding that you can create meals and just repeat them too. So if you find 2, 3, 4, 5 meals that you like as far as dinners that have a similar macronutrient breakdown, you can just add those in, and you know that you're going to be close to your macronutrient goals. Hopefully these tips were helpful for you, and try not to make these mistakes, but don't beat yourself up over it if you do. Not a big deal. You can move on and try again next time, or next meal, or the next day, in order for you to hit your macronutrient goals. And you can follow me at Kimberly Platt, or on Instagram at Kimberly Rose Platt, for more tips and more helpful hints.